Hi, I'm Sara Coles, Project Co-Manager for the Barclays Pocket Protector.
Hi, I'm Lucy Hart, also the co-manager of the Barclays Pocket Protector.
And we're here today to take you through the steps that it took to develop this app. So initially, when this project was set, we didn't know what we were going to do. So, what the fuck? We were asked to meet 3 learning outcomes, which were reassess and reevaluate our work, working with peers and independently, and our ability to refine and redefine ideas through proper process.
The brief that we were set was for the D&AD Newblood Awards, which consisted of a selection of brands such as Audible, Barclays, the BBC, Durex, giffgaff,
Google HMCT, VBAT, Penguin, and HSBC.
So obviously we both worked together to come up with 2 separate pools of ideas.
I worked with the HSBC brief, the VBAT brief, the Google HMCT brief, and Audible.
I only worked on Barclays because I got confused.
But you know, it'd be like that sometimes.
Sometimes it'd be like that. But overall, we managed to come up with a pretty decent pool between the 2 of us.
So once we'd gotten our ideas together, we had to shave it down until we only had 10 for our presentation. So with that, we started discarding ideas and decided to only approach the HSBC, Audible, Google, and HMCT, and the Barclays briefs.
Yeah, working together was pretty well. We managed to sort of, smooth them down fairly well. It was an easy process. So from our narrowed down 10 ideas, we then put them towards the tutors for a presentation just to see which ones that they felt would be best to take further forward.
Once we'd done that, we had narrowed it down pretty much to 2 ideas and 2 briefs, the HSBC and the Barclays one. For HSBC, we had the idea of compiling different illustration styles, especially with younger audiences such as school children and even younger, to make almost a mosaic out of their imagery to make a whole picture together.
For the Barclays brief, it was an idea of something to help students on a night out more effectively manage their money. Because Barclays had all sorts of functions like being able to freeze your card and then unfreeze it, as well as to monitor your spending in specific establishments. So taking those different functions, we compiled it into this sort of app layout to help, students manage their money on a night out.
Yeah, and that's how Barclays Pocket Protector came to be. After we narrowed down to our 2 briefs, we had a representative from D&AD come and give us a chat, which helped us choose an idea.
It sort of allowed us to narrow down, decide between HSBC and Barclays, and then just be like, we're going to go for the Barclays brief, which, the process for deciding that was easy, simple, no arguments or anything. We're both very amicable to work with.
This one looks better.
But I think that one's better.
No, it's not. Yes, it is. So once we decided to do the Barclays brief, we both approached it different ways. I was still working on my dissertation, so Lucy started trying to do some logos and some mock-up designs.
Yeah, I went ahead with working out what kind of typeface that Barclays used, as well as experimenting with something which might work as a potential logo, even just something that would work for the initial presentation that we were doing for the tutors as well. But it ended up going towards the Pocket Protector name with the logo, but coming up to the first presentation we weighed up a couple of name ideas, which you came up a couple for.
Yeah. Lucy also went ahead and mocked up a couple ideas of what the app could look like, because at this stage it was still a separate app from the Barclays app. However, after seeing her designs, which were beautiful, I proposed that we make it a service within the Barclays app so we could stick closer to the Barclays identity.
Plus, it would also encourage users to use the app more as well, and it would be far easier to access than an actual separate.
That way, Barclays users don't really have to redirect anywhere, but to the app, which they already have. We also started looking at different names. Even though we both like Pocket Protector, we thought it was a good idea to branch out and look at different possibilities. So my favorite option was Student Saver, because the app was originally, the service was originally aimed towards students.
And helping students on a night out to save money.
Yeah, so it seemed appropriate. Some of the other options were Night Guard, Night Manager, Money Manager, Money Guide, and Night Out Budget. Just staying on the theme of money and managing it.
So for the initial logo development, I worked on that individually just as like a side thing. Tried to find a similar font as I could to the actual Barclays font, one that would be easier to obtain. Don't have to pay for it. But it was Baker's Signet I found, which worked pretty well. So that was just perfect for doing the initial mock-ups. And taking the blue of the Barclays logo as well as the eagle motif across it, which worked perfectly for designing the initial logo, which initially started looking at almost like a shield in a weird way, but adding tiny dotted lines around the edge made it look a lot more like stitching, and associated it even closer with the Pocket Protector name.
So it came to the point where we had to design it and actually make something instead of just keep talking about what we were going to do. So in order to do that, we made a list of things,
sort of factors that we wanted to include within the app, because from the initial brief it had a list of the functions that Barclays already have, like being able to freeze the card and tracking where you're spending. So I thought that that would be a great way to actually start putting down the functions. And from my own research into like apps to help students just student really, I found a lot of stuff for nights out that were talking about, getting home safely, maybe even blocking some contacts for drunk texting, that sort of thing. But I found very few about actually helping save money. And it was suggested that prepaid cards work really well, which they do, and on further research within that, a lot of them had pros and cons, obviously. So a lot of the pros being is the fact that once it reaches zero, like there's no overdraft, you don't have to pay anymore, but a lot of the cons were sometimes you have to pay for them, and fees for working overseas, that sort of thing. And I feel that one unique selling point about the Pocket Protector would be that you wouldn't have these fees, you wouldn't have the need for a prepaid card, you just have it on your phone.
Yeah, it's directly linked to your current account and your current card, so you don't have to extrapolate or look anywhere else for it. It's linked directly to your bank account. And this is a conclusion we came to after furthering our research, is that we needed to include this within the Barclays app. And in order to do this, we looked at multiple touch points that the service would need to include.
So because it's an app, obviously, we had to decide on a selection of different buttons that we'd want to pick, and
just functions on how the app was going to work and the story it was going to let you tell throughout.
And so we decided on just the basic ones through initial brainstorming, really, like something like a pay button, something to help top up, obviously options so that the user can edit their settings whenever they want, and as well as the option to freeze potentially specific locations or establishments, so that once the person's set limit was met, then no more cash would be allowed to be withdrawn from that specific area.
From these original ideas, we then redefined and chose what we actually wanted to include by drawing some mock-ups. Drawing just really helped us visualize how we were going to make it and what it really needed to include. So we decided to include first a map, which would let you choose the locations you wanted to pinpoint, since the app the service itself was going to be location led. Then we had an amount you could top up, which is put the money you were willing to spend that night into your card. Then we had emergency funds and rides back home, as well as time slots, which let you set time limits for your card to be frozen during. And then we also included an extra tab in the homepage of the app, which would show you your current balance in your student saver account, pocket protector account.
Pocket protector.
Yeah, but this quick sketching really helped us visualize and understand what the service needed in order to function properly.
For such a complicated, visualizing brief, it was very important to get the imagery down, just to ensure that we were on the same page, because obviously we want this to be the best that we can do, and the best way to do that is to be on the same level every time. Yes!
After we'd gone through with our initial design, we presented it to our tutors again for another tutorial, and we had quite some feedback.
No.
They overall were really excited about the idea, but they did mention that we have to tighten our target audience, because it is a service that could help many people, not just students. And I think it's important they were right, it is important to spread the message and do whatever we can to help each other.
Exactly. They had obviously a selection of different feedback, one of them being definitely to include an override button for the spending cap, which we did come up with ideas about potentially making the cap released through an online chat service, potentially on the Barclays website, just so it's simple for the user to release their cap, but it's not too simple that they can just turn it on and off in the options.
Because or else there would be no point for the service. It would be too easy to spend too much money. Some of the other feedback we got was that the logo might have to change a little in order to connect a little more to the Barclays app. However, we knew we wanted to keep it simple because it wouldn't be working as a logo, it would be working as an icon in their app that you click to access to what was called Student Saver. They also proposed that we change the name because, again, the target audience issue. So we looked at some of our previous options for names, such as Money Manager, which was up in the top 3.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the stronger ones.
Yeah, but we decided to revert back to Pocket Protector because it was straight to the point, easy and catchy. And
we already have the logo for it.
Yeah, and it protects your pockets. It tells you what it's going to do, and it's applicable to a larger audience.
And it's catchy.
Yeah.
They also mentioned potentially to add in a mood checker to when you access the Student Saver section of the app, which you'd access it and you could say maybe 3 times a day at separate times how you're feeling, if you're feeling good, if you're feeling bad, because when you're feeling good, sometimes you spend a little bit more frivolously, and it could tell you to maybe watch your spending, or if that you're not feeling great, it might encourage you to maybe treat yourself to something small, but just a way to keep monitoring how the user is spending.
Which is a way that our app connects again to mental health and money. And not only that, but through this constant mood tracker, it could trace patterns and show you how your mood affects your money management. And because it is known that tracking patterns can make people feel safer and more in control of their lives.
Okay. So following up from the presentation feedback, I did some research into 4 different banks within the UK, obviously including Barclays themselves, Lloyds TSB, HSBC, as well as Santander. And out of all of them, the amount of support that they gave towards the mental health of their customers definitely varied. Lloyds themselves, they had the Get the Inside Out campaign, which talked more about encouraging people to talk more about their mental health. And obviously all of these banks are still They're still good, obviously, but definitely their attention to mental health definitely varied. I felt personally that Barclays was definitely one of the higher ones in their regards to mental health, as well as Santander, which had like a selection of videos to show the customer how to actually get the help and support they need in simple step-by-step processes.
We then continued working on the project by doing more research and changing the name back to Pocket Protector and fixing some bugs in the app design, as well as writing a script for a voiceover. So we wanted our presentation video to be as similar as to the Barclays videos they have on their YouTube channel, that they show how to interact and use the app. We thought that format would be very good for us since it's already in their language and it correlates with how they've been doing things, fully integrating our service into their personality and brand identity. So the script was written to really take the users step by step into using the Pocket Protector service. Everything is well explained, the reasons, how to use it, and why you should use it, as well as just being an easy following guide that lets you really take advantage of the service.
So overall, we were really pleased with the outcome that we managed to reach with the Pocket Protector.
We had a really strong concept and a really strong execution, which overall makes it a pretty good project. It was a simple enough idea that it could be executed within the time frame, but at the same time, it's a strong idea. It really connects back to the Barclays brief, and we're really proud of what we've done.
Yeah, as well as it utilising a lot of Barclays already existing functions.
And their language as well.
Which tied it even more closely with the brand, along with how hard we tried to make it appear like an authentic part of the app.
We also worked really well together. We were really good at distributing work and seeing what needed to be done, and then planning ahead in order to get those things done the next day.
Yeah, to prioritise the time that we had, because it was quite a closely packed project in a way, with different aspects that we would have to focus on. So the communication, or the good communication between us, was all the more beneficial to actually getting the desired outcome we wanted.
We knew that if either of us had too big of a workload or couldn't figure out how to do something out, we could contact the other and they would either help out, or we would redistribute the work we had in order for that to get done.
Alongside this project, we were working on our dissertations as well. So with such a closely packed project, it was all about prioritising the time that we had, really. And there were parts when some of us were working on their dissertations.
Because I had an extension during the first week of this project. So Lucy started off working and idea generating during that week. And then as soon as I was done, I picked up what was left to do and continued with that, so we could distribute the work equally. But overall, I think that it worked really well, and we're really excited, and we really want to enter it to the Newblood Awards.
Definitely, we do feel like we have a chance in winning, but who doesn't?
And yeah, that's how the Pocket Protector came to be.
Thank you for your time and your attention.
And I hope you enjoy this new Barclays service.